And it's a good afternoon to the Gelding. Gelding, we said we weren't going early again this week, but we are. Couple of family arrangements got in the way again.
Good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, listeners. Your family commitments again.
Yeah, mine again.
I'm okay.
Yeah, you're okay this week.
Yeah. Any major thing to drag you away from our normal routine, or
no? Not as important as a wedding or something like that, Gelding.
So what's drawing you away tomorrow?
The basketball.
Grandson's grand final in the.
No, not a grand final. So yeah.
A final. Right.
Very important match, apparently.
All right. So Pa had to be there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that'll make all the difference, mate.
Okay.
Definitely.
Is that to purchase the ice creams after the game or during the game?
Maybe purchase the oranges at 3/4 time.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right, Gelding. Flemington tomorrow, 10 race card, the first at 12:15, the last at 5:35, the feature race 8, the Group 1 Australian Cup, 3-year-old and above over 2,000 metres. The tracks are good for the rails in the true position. And Gelding, before we start on what your tips are for tomorrow's races, we should have a little bit of a crow from last week. 100% place rate, 50% win rate, and the Professor's Parlay win and place parlay successful.
Well done, Professor. You're on fire again. And what's that bring the percentage rate back up to?
46%, Gelding.
Oh, so pressure on this week, Professor.
Well, we get up this week and we're back to 50%.
Oh, you beauty. Well, let's hope, Professor. I know a lot of listeners like the Professor's Parlay when they can get on.
Well,
especially one Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like when we go into the esports.
Well, he's where he bets with. Do not set fields for the esports, Professor.
Perhaps he should change his betting platform, Gelding.
I think Mr. Hogan's got another suggestion for you, Professor.
Yes, and you know what that was? Gamble responsibly.
Well, is eSport a sport?
Well, we had that discussion on Sportsfan Radio, didn't we, Gelding?
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
Beautiful.
Gelding, before we get your tips, should say to the viewers, what we want you to do is just down below me, there'll be a like button. Please press the like button. You'll see you can subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, guess what, Gelding? You get told when we're on air for everything that we do, including Gelding and I are now doing an NRL program every week.
That's fantastic. Interesting. Would be an interesting conversation, that, Professor. I'm judging a one-way show.
Well, Gelding, I talk more on this program than I do on the rugby show.
It's good to see, Professor. Good to see someone else that gets an opinion in.
All right, Gelding, what are your two best bets for Flemington races?
Well, Professor, as you said at the start, we're going back to Flemington tomorrow, Australia Cup Day. Track's going to be in perfect conditions, a perfect day out today, a bit of rain around last week and earlier in the week. So I would imagine Flemington will be the perfect course tomorrow. We chose to go to Flemington because of that. Like a few in Rose Hill, Professor, but as we well know, a bit of rain around Sydney. So, could affect the track. So that's why we're going Flemington. Now, mine are later in the day, Professor, and my first bet is in the Hong Kong Jockey Club Whirlpool Sprint Classic, Professor, a listed race for 3-year-olds for $500,000, Professor. So good prize money. Just one for some of the boys, Professor. I like race 7, number 1, First Settler, trained by Mick Price and Mick Kent Jr., to be ridden by Michael D or Mick D. So we've got all the Micks in there, Professor. And showing rather good value at 10 to 1 can be got at the moment, Professor. So I would encourage people to get on, especially each way. This First Settler is a written tycoon 3-year-old. It's had 5 starts for 3 wins and a second. Professor, the only unplaced run was a 9th in the Coolmore Stakes over the Carnival, when Switzerland won quite easily. But this horse I said I was always going to follow when it ran. The only other run was second when it was beating by Growing Empire at Flemington by a very small margin, Professor. So I like to follow these horses. 10 to 1's a good, I think, over the top price. Look at Storm Barrier 1, which is a disadvantage down the straight, and a horse coming over from New Zealand, Alabama Lass, Professor, with a huge reputation. But, you know, First Settler 10 to 1, I think you'll get a good run for your money, and hopefully we'll add some great value to the parlays. Then in the Australia Cup, Professor.
Now, just Gelding, just before you go on, just a little bit of history from the Australian Cup. I didn't realise until I did a bit of reading about it that this used to be the longest race distance in Australia.
Yes, longer than 3,816 metres.
Yeah, longer than the Melbourne Cup.
Yes, it was a lot longer than the Melbourne Cup. But then in the 70s and the 80s, as the VRC was trying to compete with the AJC as it was then, they tried to make this a weight for age kind of race where you could get the good stayers from the string before running, and a lot of the trainers, of course, didn't want to give them another hard campaign for distance, so they cut the distance back to 1.25 miles. So hopefully to get the stayers and also the weight for age performers that ran well in the Cox Plate. But yeah, very unlike a racing committee to chop and change things, Professor.
Well, definitely, Gelding, and there's some great horses won this race. Gay Icarus back in the early 70s, Leilani, Ming Dynasty, Dulcify, Hyperno, Bone Crusher, Vo Rogue, Let's Elope, Viander Cross, who else? Lonro, Mackay Diva, Zipping. So certainly, Ferrenti.
Yes. Now, Professor,
yes.
Question without notice for you.
Yes.
Gay Icarus. What year did it win the Cup?
What year did it win the Cup?
The Melbourne Cup.
I'm going to say 1972.
Oh, 1 year off. You should have gone Think Big for 72. Yes. Gay Icarus was 73.
Oh, I was close.
Ridden by Frankie Rays and trade down at Epsom, the old Epsom racecourse.
Yes.
By
and
Ian Saunders.
For those of our viewers who don't know, where was the Epsom racecourse, Gelding?
Just near White Street.
That's right.
Morty Alec, Professor.
Morty Alec, now a housing estate.
Yes. And how Morty Boy got his nickname.
Exactly, Gelding, exactly. All right, who do you like in the Australian Cup?
Well, Professor, any horse that's won $10 million and is the current reigning Australian Horse of the Year, and you're getting, round about the $3 for it. Look, it's coming back. It won well last time from a bleeding attack. Won well first up. I'm happy to trust Kieran Ma. I don't think Kieran Ma would be racing a horse of this quality ability if he didn't think it had a very, very good chance of winning. So I'm happy to follow Kieran Ma with Pride of Jenny. It's won over $10 million. Look, is 2,000 its pet distance? I'm not too sure about. It had its best win over 2,000 up in Sydney, Professor. But I don't know. It's only won once over 2,000. It's won 4 times over a mile, but hopefully it'll get the 2,000 tomorrow. Look, it won't be an easy task. There's a lot of good horses here, which I'd love to own. Yeah, Light Infantryman. You've got Middle Earth. You've got a Tissue. One of our up-and-coming 3-year-olds, Feroci, which we've bet before, Professor. But look, those horses are all around about the $2 million mark in prize money. Here you've got Pride of Jenny up over $10 million. So I put that in the same kind of stratosphere as Mr. Brightside. These horses are champions of this era.
Yes.
So I'm happy to go Pride of Jenny. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, I'm going a little bit earlier than you tomorrow, Gelding. Race 5, the Curragh Handicap. It's an open listed race for 3-year-old horses and above, over 1,600 metres. I like in this one, horse number 10, Engzuto, coming out of barrier 5, Gelding. It's had 19 starts for 5 wins, 5 placings, 26% win rate, 53% place rate. It's in a stronger class tomorrow, Gelding, but what I like about this is it's won its last 3 in a row, including its last start win at this track 4 weeks ago. The threat in this race, Gelding, I reckon, is number 11, Helsing, but it beat at home in that same race. Helsing came 4th. It's won at the track. It's won over the distance. Luke Curry's in the saddle, so we've got a experienced jockey. Robbie Griffiths is in good form at the moment. He's in career form, 11% over his career, but 12% over the last 50. And like with Pride of Jenny, Gelding, you can get $3.40 and $1.60. So very nice each way odds there for this horse. It's won its last 3. You'd think it'd be starting better than evens.
Professor, spot on. Any horse that's kind of 5 wins out of 19 starts, of which 3 of them that's won in the last 3 races, you're not going to get a better informed galloper than that.
No, so race 5, number 10, Engzuto, and then I like in race 6, the Bob Hoisted Handicap, a listed race over 1,000 metres. Number 9, Midwest, coming out of barrier 8, 26 starts for 8 wins and 11 placings. So a 31% win rate, but what I like about it, 73% place rate, Gelding. So it's more often than not in the money. A Zoo Star Gelding. Gelding?
Yes. Everyone's got to have a Zoo Star.
Everyone's got to have a Zoo Star. In fact, we had a Zoo Star, Gelding.
We did. It's just up there on the wall, Professor.
It is, Gelding. It's an equal class tomorrow. It's won over the distance. It's a last start win at the track over the same distance. Carrying 3.5 kilos less, Gelding. I did like that. That ticked a little box for me. And it's good each way odds. Gelding, you can currently get $5.50 and $2.10.
Oh, Professor, back in form. Yeah, look at it won well. I like it. I like it.
Craig Williams in the saddle, Gelding, and the Freedmans, they are in terrific form at the moment. Over their career, a 17% win rate. Over the last 50, Gelding, 24%, if you don't mind.
Very good trainers, Professor.
So my 2 for tomorrow at Flemington, Gelding, race 5, horse number 10, Engzuto, and race 6, number 9, Midwest.
Now a question without notice, Professor. I believe it's my turn for the bets tomorrow.
It is, Gelding, yes.
Why do I get to... You've given me the 2:30 to get them on instead of 12:15. What's going on, Professor?
I was looking at a horse in race number 1, Gelding.
A Little Deep or Bossy Nick?
Bossy Nick.
Yes.
I was looking at Bossy Nick in race 1, and I thought, no, I won't set you that task tomorrow.
Well, I've got plenty of time now in the morning.
Oh, dear, Gelding. All right, let's look. Yeah, good on you, Gelding. All right, now, let's look at the Professor's Parlay, the very successful Professor's Parlay at the moment.
Back in form.
Back in form, back in town, Gelding. Last week, Via Sistina into the Brisbane Lions to beat the West Coast Eagles. Now, it looked a little bit choppy there for a while, but Brisbane at home, just too hard to beat, and West Coast ran out of steam in the end, I think. And then lucky we're on Port Adelaide last week, not last night, Gelding.
Yes,
to beat
Professor.
Richmond. They definitely accounted for Richmond. The bubble, I think the bubble burst for Richmond last week.
Yeah, be interesting this week though.
It will.
Maybe a sneaky chance against St Kilda.
Yeah, yes.
If they rest from their big win last week against Geelong, I wonder whether we could use the Colts analogy in AFL as well as NRL, Professor, in the first 5 rounds.
Maybe we could, Gelding.
If we have a look at some of the results.
Yeah, I'm not against you there. Not at all.
Maybe something to look into for the 2026 seasons. We'll be on from round 1.
Well, it will be, won't it?
Yes. Or round 0.
Round 0, yes. Round 1, Gelding. It should, you and I both know it should be round 1.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Gelding. This week, the agreed bet of the day, race 8, horse number 6, Pride of Jenny, for all the reasons you mentioned earlier in the program. Let's parlay that. We're going in the NRL, Gelding. The Manly Sea Eagles playing at home. Schooner will love it that we're picking his team to win to beat the Parramatta Eels. Manly Sea Eagles 5th at the moment. They've won 2 out of their 3, Gelding. You've got a plus 38 point difference. They're playing at home. Fortress Brookvale, Gelding, they're at home. Gelding, they've played 4 games. This will be their 3rd game out of 4 at home. They've certainly been looked after there. Mr. Volandis is looking after them.
Unbelievable. Now, will Schooner be on board?
Oh, Schooner will be on board that one. No doubt about that.
What about Mitty?
No, Mitty's Cronulla Sharks fan.
Oh, okay.
He's a bit of a contrarian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Trouble in the camp there.
Well, Mitty supports the Cronulla Sharks in the NRL, and he supports the West Coast Eagles in the AFL.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So he's not a demon.
No, he's not a demon.
Is he out of the will?
No, not yet.
Okay.
He might change his mind.
Okay.
All right. The Parramatta Eels got a season to remember, Gelding. The red line's definitely through them. They're 17th out of 17. They haven't won a game. Minus 72 point difference.
Jeez.
So that's an average losing pace of 24 per. No, more than that. 24 a game. So that's their average losing difference, 24 a game.
That's a lot.
Tommy Turbo's back for the Manly Sea Eagles too, and remember they beat the Raiders last week 40-12. So I don't know what's going to happen. The line's 18.5, Gelding. So better than 3 converted tries.
Yes, just shows who the bookies think will win quite comfortably.
Well, I was interested.
And maybe that might be a bit skinny for the line.
Well, $1.13, Gelding. I thought it'd be down the $1.05.
Yeah.
And we'll parlay that into the AFL, the Adelaide Crows playing at home to beat North Melbourne. I know North Melbourne had a great win last week, but they only beat Melbourne. I don't know that Melbourne are going to do too much this year. The Adelaide Crows...
The Crows are on fire at the moment, Professor.
They've got a percentage of 172, Gelding.
25 goals against Essendon.
Yes.
They're certainly come chasing out of the block. So, yeah.
22 years since North Melbourne's beaten the Crows in Adelaide, Gelding.
Wow. That's a long time.
And the Kangaroos' last 14 defeats against the Crows by an average losing margin of 37.9.
That's a lot.
So there's some statistics for you. The bookies don't like them either, Gelding. The line's 39.5. So in excess of 6 goals.
Well, another question without notice for you, Professor.
Yes, Gelding.
Was Wayne Carey playing for Adelaide when North Melbourne last beat them?
He might well have been. Might have been the...
It would have been around about that time, wouldn't it?
It could well have been about that time, Gelding. All right, so Professor's parlay this week is race 8 at Flemington, number 6, Pride of Jenny, into the Manly Sea Eagles to beat the Parramatta Eels, into the Adelaide Crows to beat the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Well, Gelding, it's been a great show, and let's just say that we're looking to improve on last week's 100% place rate, 50% win rate. I said to Schooner last week, he rang me and said, how do you think you blokes will go this week? I said, well, we'll at least get 4 placings. I'm confident of that. I think we'll do even better tomorrow, hopefully.
Hopefully so, Professor. I do like them, and I'll be sitting here watching the races at home, which I'm looking forward to, and also 4 o'clock being able to watch a St Kilda Richmond game of footy.
All right. Well, good luck to your Tigers, Gelding. Hopefully they'll salute for you. And until next Saturday, and that's racing. It's good luck
and good punting.